Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to the Great Outdoors. I am your host, Rip Van Willie. Been a long 48 hours. Pretty beat up. Went to bed last night about 10 o'clock. For some reason woke up at 2 a.m. Stayed awake until 4 a.m. where somewhere I fell asleep around 2 minutes after 4 a.m. Woke up again at 5 a.m. Got up and went to work. Worked from 6 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. And I'm back here with some pretty heavy eyeballs right now. I'm going to be honest with you. The old lids, I need to jam something underneath of them. I feel like I need to hook two of these fishing poles right up under the old eyelids and keep them open. But, you know, the show must go on. And go on it will. Because I got a box. And we all know that when I get a box, something gets fixed. Or I reorder the right part. That happens occasionally. Unfortunately, this is one of those. I was ordering some parts for the Zebco 600. This Zebco 600 will get the chance to go out there and fish again. I got line already on it because the part that he sent me the first time would actually, the rotor would put line on. So what we're going to do is open this box up. We're going to see if we got the right part this time. I'm hoping that we do, because, well, there went that fingernail. Rip that all the way back to the third knuckle. That's going to feel good the rest of the week, because you know when you do that to your fingernail, you hit it on everything and its mother after that. All right, let's take a look at this part. Oh. This is not exactly what the other one is, but it's darn close. I'm going to put it on there and we're going to see if it'll do the job. Hopefully it will. It's made the same up top. It's just a little different on the spring area in the retrieval pin. My fishing reel area is growing exponentially. I all of a sudden I feel like I'm John Travolta in here. I got reels, they're multiplying. Here are the rotors. Can you see the differences in there? I hope you can. I don't care what it is as long as it works. There's where I hold everything dear. Stop coming off, line. Line! Better shape up, 'cause I need a reel. And this one may not fit either. Better shape up. There we go. There we go. Yeah, it fits. Okay. I was about to say, and there's always something I'm about to say, but if that wouldn't have worked either, I don't know what I'd have done. I might have just got in bed. Not kidding. I'd have got right into bed. Just went to sleep. Better shape up. You better understand. That's just crooked as it can be. Pin came out. Let me completely tighten this. We'll use the screwdriver for this particular one. No, we're not going to have this tangle thing. Stop it. Just not necessary. Trying to do a show here. This is why you don't work with children, animals, and fishing reels. I've had people that have actually said, man, what is it you don't like about Zebco? It's not that I don't like Zebco. Everybody has this assumption that, oh, he doesn't like Zebco. Willie doesn't like Zebco. He's nothing but Johnson and Shakespeare and all that. No, it's not that at all. I have quite a few Zebco reels and I use them. As a matter of fact, I used Zebco as a kid with all the little trigger spins and stuff like that. And before we get too far there, that looked like it worked. Okay, that looks like that's going to be just fine. So let's just hold our breath on that one, starting now. I'm going to talk though, you keep holding your breath. I used Zebco a long time, and I always have. The classic series, I used those for a long time. I've used many different 33s, 202s. I never got too much into the bigger Zebcos, the big monsters, the 808s or whatever the big monsters were, because I never had a need for anything that big when it came down to it. But I used all kinds. I got a 33 spinner over there that I really love. And some of the early model 33s from like the 50s, late 50s and things, I got a few of those. And I just love those things, and I do use them. So it's not that I do not like Zebco. Please do not think that I don't like Zebco. I do, and I have a bunch of them. So now I have a 600 that is really mint. I mean, this little guy is in extremely good condition. There will be people that would fight me over that reel right there. It's a really nice reel. It's actually a very nice reel. I've given a lot of Zebcos away, and I've gave them to people that I thought would enjoy them and that type of thing. And the reason that I did that was mainly because the Zebcos, you can find them. They're out there. They are the small block Chevrolet engines of the fishing world. They're everywhere. Everywhere I go, every antique store, every flea market, there is a Zebco of some kind. So yes, I do like Zebco. All right, if you go back to the Abomatic 140 video when I got it, I told you that I thought something was missing off the side. Well, there was. You see that little chrome cap right there, that cover? I told you that that was missing. And I knew it was there. Something needed to be there. So anyway, Matt had several of those. Got me one of those and put that on there, and that really does make the reel. I mean, it adds so much to that. Something else that I fixed. This has been long going. Now, if you go back, I don't know how far back, we may have to look the video up and just see how far back it goes. The Shakespeare 1771. Now, this is an incredibly simplistic reel. There's nothing complicated about this reel in any way, shape, or form. But it has been a long time coming. I got the correct part inside. The 1771 is back to how it should be. I'm going to show you what the problem was. If you care, that's fine. If not, fast forward. It's a great thing, fast forward. Back in my day, you had to lift the needle and drop it, and then try to find it. Find where you wanted that needle to be, and you never dropped it in the right place, and you just kept dropping it till you scratched that spot, and then it kept skipping. And there's nothing worse. I don't care what you say. There's nothing worse than when you lift your needle and drop it in the middle of John Cougar's small town, and it keeps going, I was born in a small, I was born in a, I was born in a. Anyway, here's the problem. If you look at this, this is the spool, the original spool to the 1771. On top of the spool, there is a little plastic cap. This plastic cap is supposed to snap. It's supposed to be a snapping action that holds it down on there. So when you press the button, that's right, when you press the button, the rotor raises above it, allows the line to come off, and then when the rotor with the saw teeth go back down, when you do this, yeah, that's right, when you wind it and it drops the rotor back down, it drops down further than this area where the cap goes down, and that's what allows the line to go back on. Well, what was happening, because this doesn't click into place, when you press the button and the rotor would raise up, it'd bring the cap with it. So then when you dropped it back down, it was back to normal, and when you go to cast, it would just catch the teeth on the rotor and you couldn't cast. This was a bad design. There was a flaw in the slaw here. So when those little snappy-do pieces don't work anymore, it messes up everything. Evidently, there was a upgraded version of the spool that came with a metal already built on cap to the spool. That was the replacement. That's what fixed it. That is what's going to get that 1771 back out there on the water. And there you go. Okay. Here's a picture you probably weren't expecting. I'm in the passenger seat. Wife's over there driving. That's what happens when you get old. The man sits in the passenger seat. Just what it is. And we always pretend to fall asleep because their driving scares the heck out of us. It's true. Men, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, we're going down the interstate. We're heading toward Virginia Beach, a place I love. Gotta love those tunnels. And on a Saturday, it ought to be great. Anyway, we're heading over there. My oldest son, who is also a volleyball coach, teacher, player, is in a tournament today. And we're going to try to catch part of that. And then we're going to try to sneak out of there a little bit sooner than we wanted to, really. Or I don't say wanted to. Our ears might be numb from the screaming, and when you get volleyballs flying past your head at 200 miles per hour and you've done this 17 or 18 times, your neck muscles hurt. You need Advil and stuff like that. But we're going to hit a couple of the antique stores since we're going to be on this side, and maybe we'll find something else in there to put together or take apart, cuss at, order parts for, you know, all that stuff.
Oh, see?
Hey, keep your head, put the coffee down. You trying to get us killed? What do you want to be, a hyper when you're laying on the stretcher? Oh, okay. Anyway, we'll see you probably at the game for a little bit anyway. This is why you got to keep your head on a swivel, because you can get it knocked off. Because there's also games going on back here. And trust me, one of those balls to the head at that speed hurts. Okay, so what you just saw was what we call volleyball. At least that's what we call volleyball. Now you may call it something else where you're at. You might call it badminton or horseshoes. I don't know what you may call it, but it was volleyball here. So now we've watched some of that. We are on our way to an antique store to hopefully come across something worthy of being taken off the shelf, taken apart, put back together, and put out there for catching a fish. So here we are back at the house. That's right, we're back at the house, back at the old homestead, here in the old headquarters. Well, we've had a long morning, I'm going to tell you right now, because we left here at about 9:30 this morning, watched volleyball up until about, I don't know, somewhere a little bit after noon, 1 o'clock, somewhere in there. Watched my oldest son play some volleyball. Hit an antique store on the way home. That's right, hit the antique store on the way home. Did we find anything in the antique? Yeah. Got this thing. Don't know a darn thing about it. Know it's French. And I know it's called the R-U Sport. Half bale. Seems to work really well. I'm very surprised for its age and, you know, sitting on a shelf for who knows how many years, how well it actually works. All I know is it's French, late 40s, early 50s kind of thing, from what I'm understanding. Look at this strange. Got a little bit of gear growl going on. That's okay, no big deal. Half bale thing happening, which I have found several different half bales that actually work. Okay. This, what are you doing? Why? Oh, I got the doodah off there. The anti-reverse is off. So let's just make sure that our bale flips as though it's, yeah, bale flips. Everything seems to be working right there. Very mechanical sounding. And I mean very machine-like, very mechanically put together. Looks like an aluminum spool, which is all one big massive spool. Then you got your anti-reverse here, switch. You got your drag on top with a wing nut that looks like a fan blade. Could probably cool you off in the summertime a little bit. You could probably hook that to a trolling motor. It'd probably take you across the lake 130 miles an hour, or knots. You know, I don't understand that whole miles per hour and knots thing. I just don't get it. Maybe I'm not supposed to. I'm more of a car guy anyway. So, this one's kind of unique. We're going to have to do a little homework on it. Definitely at this point I know that it's made in France, and it's pretty nifty looking. Only 3 screws kind of holding it together there. Might have to do this one first, just to take it apart. Now I say first because there's the second. It's gold. It's called the Model 3 Larchmont, made by the old Arax company, a division of the Lionel Train Company, made in the USA, Pat Pending. Now, I don't know who Pat Pending is, but they should have been rich, and their family from all of these years and all the money that they've made should be loaded. Congratulations, Pat. Everything seems to work, but it is kind of thick. And when I say thick, what I mean is it's moving rather thick. Now, this thing has a really cool, this is the drag. Okay, if you want more drag, you can pull out on this button right here. I say pull out on that button, and you can tighten it down, and then you can set it into, click it into place, and then you'll have more drag, if that's what you want. But this is kind of your preliminary drag, and then you can pull out and switch it back like this. Hopefully, it just isn't going to be a drag to have to use it. Let's see, what does it say? You say pull to increase, which is backwards for what you would think. So you would pull and turn clockwise. You pull and turn clockwise to decrease. You pull and turn counterclockwise to increase. Isn't that funny? That's just crazy. This is a rather unique one. All right, let's see what we can do here. First off, we'll just take this huge propeller off the top of here. There's all kinds of springs to things I don't know what do. And I would think there should be a washer somewhere. You know, some kind of drag washer would be there or something, I would think, because this is just aluminum right on that steel. Now, I'm just guessing, but that's, to me, seems like it should be like that. We'll set these two here. Might have to look further into that, just parts-wise, just to see. Because a lot of this is going to be like, how does it even come apart? I don't know. And let's take this side housing off. Got 3 flathead screws. Let's see. These screws kind of have a look like somebody's been in here before. And I think I've made mention that that scares me. I hate it when people have been in it before me and pieces could be missing and, you know, that kind of thing. And pop goes the weasel. Why is it not coming apart? A lot of times these things are screwed together and they're just sandwiched together. This is actually recessed inside the body, which makes it hard to get out. I got it. Here it is. That is absolutely 100% hideous. That's what that is. Let me scrape some grease out of this thing because it looks like that looks like grease from a 58 Packard jammed in there. And let me clean some of this up and I'll get back to you in just a minute. All right, here we are picking up back where we left off just before the battery died. I'm trying, look at this, look at this. I'm not joking, this is like wheel bearing grease. And I'm trying my best to get it out of here, which means I've got a lot of cleaning to do once I get in there to the sink. This thing is nasty. I just keep scraping it out. But I have a strange suspicion that when this thing is completely cleaned out, it's going to work pretty darn good. That's just me thinking out loud. Probably shouldn't have said anything because a lot of times when I do say things like that, well, something happens. Something goes wrong. Just like that giant mosquito that just flew by just now. You just heard it. No, that wasn't a giant mosquito. That was some poor soul who actually paid a lot of money to make his vehicle sound that way. It's going to be fun to get it out of there. I'll tell you that right now. This screw right here that holds the drive shaft in, I guess you'd say, pinion shaft, wherever you come from and call it. This screw is a reverse thread. So we'll put that in there, which is also steel. Let go. Then I should be able to pull this. I should. Hopefully I don't break this thing. But that could be where it's headed. What I'm going to do is clean it up like it is before I go trying to yank that out of there. We'll get this section cleaned up first, and then I'll be right back and we'll dive into this other section that has grease caked up in there like a Hostess cupcake. That's what it looks like. It looks like icing. That's going to be fun to figure out too. Anyway, I'll be right back. Okay, got that out of there. That wasn't easy, not gonna lie. That grease had that thing hardened up in there really good. Now I've got to get this little slide piece out, which I'm assuming comes out. There it is. All right, I got it. It's just really greased up in there. I've got to get me some aluminum tools to work with. Everything sticks. And that appears to be a reverse thread as well. It is. Thank you, France, for making this one so incredibly easy to work on. I think that is just an oil plug. That's all that is. You can actually put oil in that hole right there. This, exactly. This is Ace. Or AC as my wife likes to call him, because that's where he was found, was underneath an air conditioning unit. Ain't that right? But I don't like calling him that because it sounds silly. If I was going to name him something like that, I would have named him Rude. Or something like that. But he's out there trying to play with Boo, and Boo don't like playing much. He'll play a little bit, but now I think he's sleepy. Are you sleepy? You're not. What does that mean? Does that mean I stink? It meant something. In cat world, that meant something. I don't know what, but I don't speak cat. He's taking a look at his surroundings. Aren't you? Are you taking a look at your surroundings? He can't keep his eyes open. That's the problem. He's sleepy. Okay, so I took him in there and laid him on the couch. He was asleep, and just turned on my channel on the television. I put it on The Great Outdoors. That's guaranteed to keep him asleep until I get this reel fixed. I just want to show you all this. I haven't taken the crank part of it apart yet, but look, this is what has came out of this. People, you do not have to grease the snot out of these things. They don't need that. That's not how they work well. And this one was highly over-greased and has been evidently for quite some time. So just want to let you see that. I've got this fairly cleaned up. I think this threads off of here, but the only way to do that is to put the crank back on it and then hold the crank still and turn it. I might give it a try, but if it wants to fight me, I will not do it, because this is brass, and putting all of that pressure on this crank will destroy the gear if it happens to accidentally slip, slide, bend, stretch, or whatever. This thing really, I've oiled everything down and I've hot watered it to death. It actually has an oil port on the side. I put that in just so y'all can see. I mean, it moves really nicely. So I am not going to take a chance on messing that gear up and that crank gear up, trying to unscrew that off there if it doesn't want to come off. But I'm going to put the base back together right now, get that all put back together, and then I'm going to go take the crank apart and we're going to clean that up and get this out of here. All right, we're now diving into the crank housing here. That's an aluminum screw. Of course, that had to be aluminum. Okay, as expected, that nut does come off, which is what I'm believing leads to that gear coming out. So I'm going to keep unscrewing it until something comes out. This is a strangely put together reel. Okay, I think I got something happening now. I have to put some pressure at the pull on this thing to get it tight enough for it to let go of whatever it is that's in there holding it together. Okay, it looks like we have some sort of brass bushing that's threaded, and then all this stuff in here, which we will clean. Better shape up, cause I need a reel, I need a reel. Who'll bring in a fish or two? Better shape up. Too much grease, people, way too much, and grease is not what this thing needs. Alright, I'm just gonna say, because I can, this reel's got a lot going on. Now, it's not super complicated, but there is a lot going on with this reel as far as the taking apart and putting together process. A lot more than I thought there'd be. Doing the thing. This one's not going to be all that pretty. I mean, it's kind of beat up. Mechanically though, it's in pretty good shape. It looks like it's been around for a while. Gears are in really good shape. Actually, the gearing on the pinion gear and stuff is brass, and the other gear is steel, but there's no wear marks. There's no real wear marks on it at all. You know, back in the day when people bought this kind of stuff, did they fish a lot? Who knows? I mean, this thing came out of France. I don't know if you could buy them in the American market. Did it come from France and was sold over here? Did someone buy it in France during the war or during some other time and brought it here? I don't know. I got no idea. Only this reel knows, and the person who used to own it. So you just wing it when you're trying to guess these things. But surprisingly, this one works really well. It's very smooth considering there's nothing but bushings in there, and I got one screw I got to put back in here real quick, but let me put that back in before I lose it. It's a two-piece rotor, two-piece spool that's actually all one big thing. There you go. The R-U, and that's R-U as in the letter R, giant U, Sport. R-U Sport Deluxe. I don't know what makes it a deluxe. I have no idea. And why they put deluxe up there and didn't put it down there on the side, I'm not quite sure. It does have some cool little features. I'll show you a couple of those. One feature is this crazy mud flap of a button. That's kind of, not button, but a crank handle, I guess you'd say. That's kind of cool. The other feature is this gigantic food processing, chops, cuts, slices, and makes julienne fries. Now it is a half bale, but you do not have to retrieve to make it ding. You can flip it back manually if that's what you want to do. I'll probably do that. But other than that, there you go. Pretty nifty looking reel. All I know is it was made in France. I've seen a few different things on here that say something about the 50s and some say the late 40s. And I don't know anything much about it. But I do know mechanically it seems to do its thing very well. I mean, what can you ask for? Do a little bit of that backwards. I forgot I told you I'd do that. You didn't remind me, people. Got a lot going on here. Hey, cats running amok. But everything works. Pretty nifty reel. So anyway, there you go. You got a 2 for the price of 1 thing there. You got 2 reels on a video today, and you got to see a little bit of volleyball of my son and doing what he does, or used to do more so than he does now. And now he's a coach and runs a club for volleyball, and he is the head coach at a private Christian school. Doing a great job. My wife, same thing. She's coaching and running a facility, and Evan, he works at the facility, and I occasionally work there, and it's just a family thing. It's all about family, and we have to remember that sometimes, because sometimes our worlds cause us to go different directions. And here with YouTube and fishing and camping and all that stuff, sometimes it's done that with me, where I've managed to, I have to go off because they're going to work or whatever, and then of course I work, so I get up and I go to work every morning, and then they run off, and then it's hard sometimes. It's very hard as you get older to find the time, and you would think it'd get easier. At least in my world. Tell me about your world, let me know, because in my world things have started to do this, especially when the boys got old enough to start doing things on their own and going off and doing whatever they want to do, whatever. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. And that, I might get around to this. I don't know. Talk to you guys later. You talk to me later. Give me some comments. Let me know how you feel. Tell me how you're doing. How's everybody? How's the family? How's the kids? How's the wife, the husband, whatever. Tell me how you're doing. And I will see you on the next one. Whatever the next one may be. Right now I'm going to go wash the grease and oil off of me. Well, I'm going to put my tools away first, because that's what you should do. It's the right thing. Put your tools away. Don't leave them laying out, because somebody's going to trip over them and knock a box over. I don't know if you've ever had 250 sockets go rolling all over the garage floor, but that ain't any fun. I know, because they're all out there still rolling around the floor.